Hello and welcome to Your Broken Galaxy. I am Broken, and today I am answering user KM3IY5SN3I's question, what if there was an age requirement in order to participate in the Podrace? Qui-Gon has just made some ludicrous bets with Watto, putting up Padme's ship and Anakin's Podracer, and they all end up going to the race. Qui-Gon, Shmi, Jar Jar, C-3PO, and freaking Padme, who is just pouting throughout the entire ordeal, and they end up getting into a skybox. Which, how the heck did they get that thing? There are not enough of these skyboxes for all the friends and family of the racers to have one. Why didn't they just use the money that they spent on the skybox to... You know what? Never mind. I'll deal with that later. So, they watch the incredible race unfolding as every nail-biting turn is going on. Shmi is virtually having a heart attack watching the danger that her son is in, while Qui-Gon is all calm and Jar Jar has no idea what's going on. Anakin and Sebulba come out of the canyon on the final lap, and everyone is sitting at the edge of their seats. Anakin has some trouble, but he ends up dealing with it, and Sebulba crashes. Anakin speeds across the finish line, and the crowd goes wild. Watto, who is as clever a businessman as there is, ends up going to the huts immediately and says, "Mighty Jabba, the boy was only 9 years old." And Jabba's like, "How do you know that?" And Watto says, "I was the one that entered him in the race." And Jabba says, "Well, why did you enter him?" And Watto says, "To make some bet with a stupid outlander that doesn't even respect our planet or yourself. Please, mighty Jabba, just disqualify the boy." And Jabba looks over at his chief bookie and says, "If we disqualify the kid, will we make more or less money?" And as the chief bookie looks around, he takes a gander at his little ticker there, and he says, "Let's see. If we disqualify the kid, we will make $5,000 more than if we didn't disqualify him." And Jabba says, "Brilliant. Good job, Toydarian." So, a moment later, while Qui-Gon and his crew are still celebrating, they hear over the intercom the voices of Fode and Bede saying, "I'm sorry, folks, but due to an unfortunate oversight, it looks like Anakin Skywalker is disqualified for being too young to race." Hoptanalun Gasgano! That's right, Gasgano picks up his first major win here today. And Anakin looks up at Qui-Gon and says, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qui-Gon. I didn't know I couldn't race." And Padme walks over to Anakin and says, "It's okay, Anakin. You did your best." And Qui-Gon, who is standing in shameful silence, looks down at the young queen, who slaps him right in the face. And she turns and storms off. After a few minutes, Watto comes to collect and is like, "Well, Outlander, I need your ship. You can have the boy, of course. The bet for the boy was that Sebulba didn't win, and he didn't. But I'll be taking that prime Nubian ship of yours." And Qui-Gon says, "What do you expect me to do with a slave boy but no ship?" And Watto says, "I don't care. This was a bad day for me. I'm still losing a fair bit of money and a hard-working slave, so I'm getting that ship." So Qui-Gon says, "All right, I'll take you to the ship." They start walking to it, and when they get there, Padme states that she is not required to relinquish her ship. Qui-Gon never had the right to the ship or the ability to wager with it. So Watto looks at Qui-Gon and says, "There must be some misunderstanding." And Padme says, "No, I have called for Jabba to come settle this." So Jabba comes out, and Padme says, "Jabba, your excellence, I am Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo. We have been stranded on this planet and found ourselves preyed upon by this lying Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn. As you can see, our ship is a state-of-the-line vehicle. I will gladly trade it with you for a modest ship to get us to Coruscant. And once me and my crew arrive, I will additionally send the fee for whatever ship it is you allow us to take." And Jabba says, "Yeah, that sounds good to me." Then Watto says, "Hold on now, this guy made a bet with me in bad faith. I'm supposed to get this ship." And Jabba says, "Is that true, Jedi?" And Qui-Gon says, "I'm afraid not." And Watto pulls out a little holo player and shows the recording of the entire exchange in his shop and says to Jabba, "This guy is an absolute impulsive liar." And Jabba says, "You gotta pay him." So Qui-Gon says, "Well, I'll give him my podracer." And Jabba looks at him incredulously and says, "That'll barely cover half the cost." And then Darth freaking Maul shows up, and everyone's like, "Dude, what the heck?" Maul whips out a lightsaber and starts fighting, but Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, along with the Queen's guards, who all have blasters, are able to take Maul down. So Jabba says, "Huh, That was weird. Anyway, what do you have available? And Watto says, well, he also just won the boy. And Qui-Gon says, no, I won the boy's freedom. And Watto pulls out a hollow player, and he plays back the recording, and he says, look, you clearly said you're betting for the boy and his mother, and I wagered you down to the boy, not the boy's freedom. You own the boy unless you've already been down to the municipal office to file the paperwork for his freedom. And Qui-Gon says, well, I haven't. So Jabba says, all right then, give Watto the pod and the boy, or, you know what, I'm feeling generous, you could also choose to set the boy free and allow yourself to be a slave. So Qui-Gon bites his lower lip and says, okay, yeah. Here's what I'm going to do. I think that maybe all the paperwork right now would be a little bit of a hassle, so I'm going to just let Anakin stay with you. And then he looks over at Anakin and says, and Anakin, I'll go get some money and come back and buy your freedom. And my mom's, Anakin says disdainfully, and be assured, there is disdain in Anakin's voice right now. He has seen how reckless and horrible Qui-Gon really is. So Watto gives Qui-Gon a price for how much money he'll have to bring back for Annie and Shmi, and then Qui-Gon turns around to Padme and says, well, let's get going, and Padme slaps him right in the face. Jabba kind of laughs, and Padme walks off with Jabba and her own team, leaving Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar to fend for themselves. But the next day, Padme gets to Coruscant, appears before the Senate, then flies back to Naboo to try and help her people. Unfortunately, they don't have the Jedi or the Gungans. She's pretty much immediately captured. After a couple of months, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Jar Jar have saved up enough money for passage off of Tatooine from working odd jobs here and there. They fly to Coruscant, and they never come back to save Anakin because Qui-Gon was just lying the entire time. Well, that is my video for today. I know that probably most of you have a much higher opinion of Qui-Gon than he is portrayed in this video. Remember, these are comedy videos. I'm trying to be funny, and I hope you laughed. If you did, consider sharing it. I would love for you guys to share these videos with your friends if you think they'll be a good laugh. Other than that, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that garbage.